Hello and welcome back to another week of Sambo iRacing. We are back in the BMW M4 Evo GT4, this time at Zandvoort for yet another track guide. Now, if you're enjoying the track guides and you want to race this exact setup curated by Gianni Lutzu, real-life racing driver, 10,500 iRating, then you can do. All you need to do is look in the description and click on the link to our Patreon page. A lot of people were asking for setups and we have now started curating them. Give it a go, see what you think. $3, it's absolutely nothing to give it a try. Anyway, yeah, let's start the hot lap. Here we are, smashing it down the main straight, looking for our braking marker into turn 1, which is just before this 100 board, and we brake briefly up to about 95%, trail it off all the way down, dropping it to third gear and back on the gas at the apex. Heading over to left-hand side, at the end of the curbing, on the brakes, back on the gas in fourth gear. Now, down to third gear, long trail off, and then I do my weird line through there that no one else seems to take. Now we're going flat through this little undulating roller coaster section, looking for this marshal shot on the left hand side. Once we've gone past that, on the brakes up to about 60%, long trail off in fourth gear, back on the gas ahead of that curbing. That'll send you out wide, that's fine. Once we hit that curbing, on the brakes up to about 55%, down to fourth gear, back on the gas. Now this is where Johnny goes further out wide than me, but I find it slippy, so I stay on the track. Cut that corner, back on the gas in third, head out wide. As we go past the porta potty, on the brakes up to about 45%, I drop it down to third gear, very slippy corner. Got to be very careful on entry and exit. Now we're going to be braking halfway along that curbing, quite hard, down to third gear, back on the gas, leave it in third gear, and then back on the gas again. Exits nice and wide. And then just after the 50 board, going to brake for the final time up to about 70%, down to fourth gear, back on the gas, hug it down low to the right-hand side. And sorry for plugging it, but it is our little business. If you want to race this exact setup, all you need to do is click on the link to our Patreon page. It really is worth it. So far, all the feedback we've had has been incredibly positive. Give it a try. See what you think. Breakdown next. Right, here we are. First braking marker is going to be this 100 board on the left-hand side. Now, I brake up to about 90%. While I pull that speed off, I drop it down to third, trail it off all the way down to the apex. There we are, still trailing. And now I'm getting back on the gas. I'm going to be braking halfway along this curbing on the left-hand side. On the brakes up to about 45%, down to fourth gear, and back on the gas at the apex. So I do take a nice wide entry. I then get back on the brakes, only up to about 35–40%. Drop it down to third, trail it off to here, and I start getting back on the gas here. You can't see a bloody thing. I still do exit wide. Maybe mine is the line. Right, that marshal shot on the left-hand side that's hidden by my quarter pillar. Once I've gone past that, I get on the brakes briefly up to 60%. Trail it off down to fourth, back on the gas. Exits nice and wide. Then we're going to brake at the end of this curbing on the left-hand side, and we briefly hit 55%. Trail it off, back on the gas in fourth. There we go. Now it's basically the 50 board on the left-hand side that we're braking here, and we hit 65% briefly. Trail it off down to third, back on the gas at the apex, and I cut the corner slightly. Don't get up to full power until I've unwound that steering. I now head over to the right-hand side. Once I go past this porta potty, I go on the brakes briefly up to 40%, but if you look, it's a long trail off. You don't want to do anything to upset the balance going through this corner. So I initially get back on the gas up to sort of 55%, and then it's just a gradual increase in pressure until I get to 100%, more or less on exit. Now we head over to the left-hand side. And I'm going to start braking as I hit this curbing on the left-hand side. Up to 90%, down to third. Now I do a little blip of gas. Now back on the brakes, only up to sort of 10%. Trail that off, back on the gas in third. Head over to the left-hand side. We're going to brake after the 50, but before the curbing on the left. And I briefly hit, 67%, down to 4th, back on the gas, the exit wide, and then hug it down low. And over and across the line I go in a 140.9. Got one final version coming up next with the driving line on without me talking. Enjoy.